My little iPad Pro is the only computer I bring when I travel. Whenever I need macOS, I remotely log into my headless Mac Mini I have set up at home via the remote desktop app Jump Desktop. So I basically have macOS on my iPad as long as I have an internet connection. I've made a video about how to set everything up. I'll put the link in the description. But today, since I was recently on vacation, I want to show you what the remote experience is really like when I was away from home and answer some questions you may have, like how's the latency, how's the audio, and things about keyboard shortcuts and transferring files. I hope all these details will be helpful. By the way, this video is chaptered, so feel free to jump around. First, how's the latency? Well, just like all the remote desktop apps, that really depends on the internet quality we have. My home internet is unfortunately quite limited. There are two factors that impact the remote experience a lot. First is the upload speed of the host, in my case, my Mac Mini, since the Mac needs to push the screen data to the iPad. For productivity work, a 20 megabits per second upload speed is ideal. For design or video editing, you'll likely need over 30 megabits per second for a smooth experience. If Jump Desktop detects the upload speed is not enough, it will compress the image more, and you'll see more compression artifacts. You can also disable Retina mode to reduce the bandwidth requirement. Second is ping. It determines the latency of the connection. For a responsive experience, less than 50 milliseconds will be ideal. I also recommend connecting the host Mac via Ethernet instead of Wi-Fi because it will give you a lower and more stable latency. I'm going to show you how it looks like on my machine, and just keep that in mind. You'll likely have a better quality image. I'm here in the hotel. Let's test out the remote access using hotel's Wi-Fi. I just did a speed test. As you can see, it's worse than my home internet. I've already connected to my Mac Mini. Let's do some tests. I'm going to open the Finder window. Check out the apps. Browsing the internet. Working on a Word document or an Excel worksheet. This is how it feels like in Pixelmator Pro. Now let's see if we can do some more demanding tasks. I'm going to open a video project in Final Cut Pro. This is a 4K video project I have. Hit play. You can definitely see stutters and drop frames over here because my internet is not good. You'll likely have a lot better experience than this. The good thing is that it transfers audio. And also I noticed the music beats are actually pretty accurate. And the audio latency doesn't really bother me while editing. But I have to mention, I really consider this remote macOS as a backup method. Because don't forget, the iPadOS itself is really capable for a lot of things. Whenever I desperately need macOS to fix some documents or video projects that iPadOS cannot do, I can still get those things done without any problem. But if I need to work on macOS for a long period of time, I don't think it's gonna be that enjoyable. I'll probably just do everything on iPadOS. I'm currently on a plane. We haven't taken off yet, but we don't have internet, so I'm using my hotspot. Let's see if I can get it connected. Here we go. Okay, it's pretty laggy. The experience is definitely not good, but if you really need to fix something, I guess you can. Can I even open a Final Cut project over here? It's definitely a slideshow, but I can kind of see what's going on. I would say if you're on an airplane and somebody asks you to fix something and your iPad itself cannot do, you have to log into macOS, just quit your job. It's not worth it. Then you might wonder, what if my Mac and my iPad are on the same lane? Do I have to rely on the internet connection? Well, no. According to Jump Desktop, it will always try to create a direct connection without involving their servers. It fallbacks to their servers only if the direct connection cannot be created. So that means unless you have a weird networking setup, you're probably going through the LAN. Next question, does it transfer audio? Yes, I've shown you earlier when I added videos on it. You can also watch or stream videos on your Mac without any issue. Next question, can I use all my macOS keyboard shortcuts on my iPad? Well, most of them work perfectly. Things like cut, copy, and paste, or the shortcuts you use in Microsoft Office, and creative apps like Photoshop, Premiere Pro, DaVinci Resolve, and Final Cut Pro. They all work perfectly. I have no issue editing videos on it using my favorite keyboard shortcuts. However, due to how iPadOS is designed, there are a few system shortcuts that iPad always hijack. They are Command Space for Spotlight, Command Tab for switching apps, and Command Q for quit an app. For example, when I do Command Space, this is my iPad Spotlight instead of my Mac's, because the one on my Mac looks like this. If I do Command Tab, I'm switching apps on my iPad. And if I do Command Q, I quit Jump Desktop on my iPad. To deal with this, Jump Desktop actually remapped the key for us already. If we use Option instead of Command, we'll be able to use those keyboard shortcuts from our iPad. For example, if I do Option Space, now I get the Spotlight on my Mac. If I do Option Tab, I'm switching apps on my Mac as well. And I can use Option and Q to quit an app. By the way, here are the macros Jump Desktop sets for us. But the problem is, if you have some function on your Mac that is linked to Option Tab, you're likely to use some other combination to replace Option and Tab. And if you don't want to do that, you can actually turn off the remapping from Jump Desktop as well. If you turn that off, you're going to use Command and Globe to replace the Command key on your Mac. In order to do that, we just disconnect, go to the settings of Jump Desktop, keyboard, and turn off macros. So now we just use Globe, Command, and Space, and Globe, Command, and Tab. Yeah, something like that. If you are using the Magic Keyboard, you have the Globe key, that's awesome. If you are using third-party keyboard, you can actually remap the Globe key to some other keys like Caps Lock, something like that. In order to do that, you can go to your iPad settings, General, Keyboard, Hardware Keyboard, go to Modifier Keys, and then set the Globe key to whatever function key you like. So this keyboard interfering issue is really a universal issue among all the iPadOS apps. So that's something we always need to find workarounds with. Oh, also, you can always see the little button over here that's for the menu for Jump Desktop. I don't really find any way to hide this, but if you find it a little bit distracting, you can actually move it to the far left or far right of your screen, so it can be a little bit less noticeable. Next question, how can I transfer files between my iPad and my Mac Mini? Well, that's the thing, Jump Desktop is kind of limited right now. It doesn't really have a direct way to transfer files between the two devices, so I'm really utilize everything I have right now. For example, when my iPad is right next to the Mac Mini, I just use AirDrop. When I'm away and for small files, I just put it in my iCloud Drive. You can also use your Google Drives or something like that. And for larger files, I actually use a third-party app, Blip. This is kind of an AirDrop alternative, but it doesn't require the two devices to be close to each other, and it can work on all the operating systems, including Android. I just install Blip on both my iPad and my Mac, log both of them into my account, and then whenever I want to share a file, I just select my Mac or my iPad. A direct connection will be built between the two devices. The speed is actually really fast. Next question, do I have to have an iPad Pro or a Mac Mini to complete this whole setup? No, you don't. It works on any of the iOS or iPad device and a macOS computer. That means you can use an iPad Pro, iPad Air, Mini, or regular iPad, or even on your iPhone. And for the computer, you can use Mac Mini, Mac Studio, iMac, or even MacBooks. But if you are setting up a MacBook for a 24/7 remote access, You might need a little bit more configuration because we need to make sure when we close the lid, the computer is still available to connect. And you are not required to have the latest hardware as well. For example, even your iPad cannot be updated to the iPadOS 26. As long as you can install Jump Desktop, you can get this whole setup done. When I made this video, the Jump Desktop on iPad requires iPadOS 12 or higher. That's a really low requirement, so you'll have no issue using your older hardware. Next question, can I use VPN while doing this remote access thing? Yes, you can. I'm using VPN from time to time as well. Sometimes my iPad is on. Sometimes my Mac Mini is on. Sometimes both of them are on. Depending on your VPN, the quality of the connection might be affected a little bit, but you'll have no problem connecting them together. Next question. What if I don't need my Mac Mini to be headless? What if I do have a monitor connected to the Mac Mini, but I still want to have remote access? Yes, you can definitely do that. Just set the Jump Desktop up as usual, and when you use your iPad to connect to the Jump Desktop, the image you see on your iPad will match the aspect ratio of your physical monitor over the Mac Mini side. If you want to see a remote image that matches your iPad's aspect ratio, you can still use Better Display to create a virtual screen that is more squared, and in the Jump Desktop settings on your iPad, you can choose the virtual screen instead of the physical monitor. In Better Display, you can also set your virtual screen as the main screen. You'll be able to see the dock and the desktop items on your iPad. You can also utilize the lock screen option in Jump Desktop. When you start a remote session, your physical monitor over the Mac Mini will be black and locked, so other people cannot see what's going on. And after you disconnect, your computer will be locked as well, so it's completely safe. You might also wonder, what if I have a multi-screen setup over my Mac Mini? Can I use Jump Desktop to see them all? Well, you can. After you connect, you can see the image on all your displays at once, or just pick one and make it full screen. Next question, is it safe to keep our Mac Mini powered on 24/7? Yes, you don't need to worry about it too much. Actually, the Mac Mini is a popular choice for a home server. It's all because of Apple Silicon Mac's high efficiency and stability. At idle, the base M4 Mac Mini only consumes about 4 watts of power. Unless you are doing crazy stuff on it, it generates almost no heat, and the fan is always off. There's really no noise and no wear and tear. You can comfortably leave it on your desk or just hide it somewhere if you don't need to access it too much. Next question, how does Jump Desktop compare to other remote desktop apps? Well, I actually think this question is kind of tough because there are so many options on the market right now. For example, you can use Jump, Screens, AnyDesk, Rust Desk. You can even set up Moonlight Sunshine. Some of them allow you to use them for free. Some require a one-time purchase, and some require a subscription. I ended up choosing Jump Desktop is because I'm a video editor myself, and I realized Jump Desktop gives me a better experience when I'm doing media-related work. It's using its own Fluid port code. Compared to the traditional VNC port code, Fluid is optimized for media performance. You can use it to watch videos, edit videos, or even play some games. Also, compared to some DIY solutions, it's kind of easy to set up. But I have to mention this one, Parsec. I use this one to do remote video editing between 2 Mac computers, and I actually think this one gives me the best video editing performance. It's even better than Jump. But unfortunately, Parsec doesn't support iPad right now, so the Jump Desktop is the second best thing I can get. Alright, that's all for today's video. If you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. You can check out the complete guide of setting up a headless Mac Mini for your iPad right here. Have a nice day.